Welcome back to SharePoint Charts Complete Training. In this session, we're going to look at how to do grouped bar charts and stacked bar charts. This is a follow-up to our last session in which we learned how to do just regular bar charts and column charts. So now we're going to look at a more advanced concept related to that. In these charts, we're aggregating data, a combination of values. So we've got an example data set here where we're looking at sales by category. So this is just an additional option that you have when you're thinking about doing bar charts, those types of diagrams in your environment. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin. For this training, you just need one list, therefore you're going to download one workbook. So in your training site, just go ahead and download that file. I've already downloaded mine, and of course the first thing that we need to do is go ahead and get that list set up. So I'm opening up my Excel workbook, click on Enable Editing, and then here's our data set. So what we have is 12 records. We have one for each month of the year, and then for each month we have a number representing a amount of sales in 5 categories. So that's the data set we're going to be using for our practice. Go ahead and click on the Table Design tab and then Export to SharePoint, and then we need the URL for your charts training site that you're working with. Okay, so I just paste that in, and then just name your list the same as the workbook. So Wise Industries sales by category. That's it. Click Next, and you can just click Confirm on the next screen. It just tells us the types of fields that we have. We'll just type or click Finish and OK. And then you can close your workbook. You will not need that for the rest of our training session today. Okay, so if you go to Site Contents, we're looking for the list that was just created. We've got lots of lists here, so you just can hover over the titles if you're not sure which is which. So this was sales by category. Well, that's Wise Industry sales, monthly sales. There it is. Wise Industry sales by category. So just click on that to open it up. There's our data, which was imported. The first thing we want to do is get rid of this quick edit mode, which is what it defaults to after you create a list from a Excel workbook. Click on your gear and go to the list settings. Then click on advanced settings. And what we want to do is go ahead and turn off the quick property option. Set that to no. And you can set the list experience to new experience. You can click on the title and return back to the list. And we want to go ahead and create some views for the different kind of charts we're doing. So I'll do Save View As, and we're going to do, let's do grouped. We'll start with group bars. Save View As grouped columns. Then we'll do stacked bars. And Save View As stacked columns. Doing COLS just to make that a little shorter. Okay, so we've got our view set up, and then what I like to do is go ahead and create shortcuts to this from the home page of my SharePoint site. So let me get I'm going to do Edit Current View and hit OK. The reason I'm doing this, I want to see the URL change to what I'm expecting. So it's, instead of that crazy string of characters, it actually says group bars on the top. So I'm going to return to the home page, and let's go ahead and add to our quick links. Since these are all related, I'm going to go ahead and make another row for this. So I'll do edit on this page, and we'll do another quick links. Change the style to large tiles. And I'll just say grouped bars, grouped columns. Okay. So grouped bars, change this. Chart. Let's see if there, that demonstrates the concept we're looking at. Well, actually, that demonstrates stacked. I'll use that next time. Let's just go for this. Okay. And then let's do add link and do, just need to change this URL slightly. Just grouped columns. Just in my link. Okay, there we go. That looks like the type of chart we're making. Okay, and then we need two more links. We're going to do stacked bars. So change this to stacked. Fix the title. And pick an icon that matches up with that. This is the one I saw earlier that I wanted. And one more shortcut I'm going to make. Okay, so this would be stacked columns. So do stacked columns. Add. Adjust the title. Pick the icon for that. Search for a chart. And there, that's the concept I'm looking for. And republish. Okay, so I'm just making it easier for me to find this instead of having to dig through the views and that type of thing. So I've already got my templates open. There's links in your training content to each of the templates. There's 4 templates that we're looking at. So let's look at grouped bars first. So I'm going to go to the grouped bars. Here, let's change the order of these. I've got them in the reverse order that I want. Grouped bars. Grouped columns, stacked bars, stacked columns. Okay, that's better. All right, now we get to the fun stuff. Okay, so here's my view, and I've got my template open. Like I say, those are linked from your training materials, and we're going to start with the grouped bars. All right, so from last time, you know a lot of the concepts here in terms of what we're looking at. As with all the charting templates, what you should do is take a peek at some of the options that are available to you, before you begin, and this will just help you maybe pick one of those that you think looks nice, that looks close to what it is that you want. I'm going to stick with theme 1 for our training, and then the first thing we need to do is make sure we get our field set up correctly. So it tells you it needs the title field for the first column, and then everything else are going to be the numeric fields measuring the value. So we need to go ahead and get that entered from the data that we have in our list. So month is just used for sorting purposes. We're not going to refer to that one. So we need title, then services. Okay, so I'll do title, services, and then let's look at our other ones. Electronics, then furniture, electronics. These are our column names that were made when we created our list from Excel. Whoops, I messed that up. You want to make sure you have it exactly right, otherwise it's not going to work. Okay, then hardware and support. Hardware, support. Okay, got all my columns set up. Now that should be enough to get our chart working. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the background gradient for our example. So I'm going to set that to none. And let's go ahead and copy the template and see if we are out the door with our first chart. Okay, so do Format Current View, then click on Advanced Mode, and just select all and paste, then save. Okay, there we go. Nice. As I seem to always do, I always forget to change the chart title. So let's go ahead and fix that. So I'll just come back over to my template screen, and we'll put sales by category. I'll do a capital for that. Okay, there's sales by category. I'll just copy and replace. So it's nice. If you leave that panel open, you can just keep adjusting there. So this is going to go vertically down the page, and we can make another adjustments to it. If we want to make it wider, for example, if I was going to do that, I would just come over here. The other thing is the range. Our range of data in our example, it doesn't even go over 1,000 generally, so we can go ahead and shrink that. Right now it's set at 2,000 for the max. If I bring this down to 1,200, that'll just, make it fill the space a little bit better. I'll change the canvas width too. So I made those adjustments, click OK, and then I can just select all and paste. There, now you can see it fills the screen. All right, so let's take a look at what we have going on. So as I go down the page vertically, I can see the value labels, and then there's a key at the top which tells me what these different color bars correspond to. So the dark blue is services, the medium blue is electronics, and so on. And then on the left I have the labels that came from the title column. And obviously when you build your own chart with live data, you can use whatever labels or whatever makes sense to you. And these are going to be in the order of those SharePoint records. So there you go. That's how the grouping works. So it's basically like side-to-side bar charts. On a month-to-month basis, I can see how these 5 categories compare to each other. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to grouped columns. And of course, this is the same concept. It's just that it's going to be arranged where we're going to see columns instead of horizontal bars. So let's move over to that template, and you can see how that layout's going to look. And let's change the title because I seem to keep forgetting to do that. Sales by category, and then go down the page a little bit. We for sure want to make sure we get our SharePoint field names right away. So again, that was services, electronics. Whoops, I'm on the wrong screen. Services, electronics. In fact, I'm going to close that template so I don't get tripped up. And then furniture, hardware, and support. Furniture, hardware, and support. Okay, and I'm going to turn off the gradient, set that to none, copy the template, and then come back over to SharePoint, Format Current View, Advanced, and then select all and paste. Okay, so you can see it's the same concept, it's just that it's going from left to right instead of top to bottom. Now, one thing I see right away that I don't like is it's kind of short, right? Generally, I want my charts to fill up the page. So that's the first adjustment that jumps right out to me where I want to do it differently. The other thing was the scale. So same as the last template, we want to adjust the scale so our bars fill up most of that. So that's easy to do. I'm going to change my range max to 1200 because that's what works well for our data. And then the height of that chart we want to adjust as well. So canvas height, canvas width. Okay, so canvas height, let's switch that to, let's try 500 and copy our template and just make that change. So when you do these changes, you want to just do a little bit at a time because it's really easy to copy and paste. So don't feel like you need to make a whole bunch of changes before you copy that over. Do it frequently, and that way you can have those checkpoints, confirm your progress, make sure it's doing what you want it to do. Now, if you want to skinny this up a little bit, you can. So maybe I want to pack that in tighter. It might look a little better in terms of the presentation so I don't have to scroll so far left and right. And to do that, I just come into my data and we've got the width settings here. So we've got a bar width percentage, and then let's see, let's do that a little bit smaller, 50%, and then label width. Let's see how we do with that. Oh, and bar width. Label width, bar width, lots of widths. Okay, there, that's a lot skinnier. Alexa, stop. Sorry, my music started. Okay, so then the next one is just adjusting the overall width of those sections. So let's bring that down. Ooh, that's too narrow. Yikes. Okay, let's see what that looks like. So I'm going to copy the template and then come back over here, paste. Okay, so that's too skinny. So now we come back over here and let's go ahead and bring this back up a little bit. So go back to 40 and then well, let's just copy that. Like I said, we can make small changes and like that. So, you know, you can tweak that until you get it to look just like you want, but this is a little more packed in if you wanted to go for that type of concept. So that pretty well covers the grouping type of template. So we can go ahead and move on. Now we can go to the stacked bars and stacked columns. Okay, so let's go ahead and close this template screen. And then the next one is our stacked bars. Okay, so it's all working from the same data set. This time, instead of side by side, they're going to be one on top of each other. And it's going to give us a total value at the end of the bar. All right, so let's go ahead and get our data in, just like we did with the other ones. So we need to go ahead and put in those column names. So title, services, electronics, and then furniture, hardware, and support. Furniture, hardware, support. Okay, there's those. I'm going to turn off my gradient. Change my chart title, sales by category. And let's copy our template. Come back over to our stacked bars and do Format Current View, Advanced Mode. Select all and paste. Okay, so now it's overflowing, right? Because it's the combined value, so we need to fix the range in order for this to work the way that we expect. Okay, so now I need to move my range up. let's try 4,000 and see how that works. And that's how you should approach this. You just try different settings until it looks the way that you're expecting it to. There we go. So now everything fits into my chart as expected. So this is a lot more condensed view. I've still got the key up top, but this really, it kind of packs in the data, and obviously it's visually interesting. As I look down this page, I can, see all the electronics kind of lines up. Generally the furniture kind of lines up. So that looks pretty cool. So generally I like the way this chart looks right now. I wouldn't likely make many changes. I might want to fill the canvas a little bit more, which wouldn't be too difficult. So I could just come back over the template and say I want the overall canvas width to be a little wider. And I can copy that. Like so. Okay, and there, that kind of fills the page more. And of course, the advantage of these charts that are working from multiple rows of data, this will just keep going. It'll just keep going down the page, so we can have lots and lots of information. It's not limited to what's just shown on the page as we see. It can be scrolling and go on as long as it needs to. All right, so let's go to the last one, which is stacked columns. And again, it's just going to use the same data set. So let's close this template screen. There's what our stack columns will look like. So I just come in here and put my fields once again, title, then services and electronics. And then the other three were furniture, hardware, and support. And then change my chart title. Sales by category. Okay, and turn off the gradient. Just kind of doing what I did on the other ones. And I should be able to apply that template, and we should be off and running with this one. So format current view, advanced mode, select all, and paste. Okay, same issue as the other one. I've got to fix the range. And also I want to fill that page more. So I got a couple of settings I know I want to change right away. Okay, so the 4,000 range I know worked based on the other one. And then the canvas height, I'd like that to be taller. So let's change that to 500. And I'll just copy and paste once again. All right, now it's making more sense. Okay, so again, it's just the same concept. It's just instead of it going vertically down the page, it's going from left to right. One's not necessarily better than the other. It just depends on your data set. It depends on what your users are expecting to see. What you should try is both options. Create two different views for your data, for the live data that you want to chart, and just see for yourself which one looks better. Maybe even ask your users which one that they prefer. But it's pretty easy to set up both, so you may as well create views for both and show them both, and at that point you can decide which one's the preferred view. So that's pretty much it. We've covered everything. This was 4 different ways to do group data, either stacked or in groups side by side for those bar charts. So I hope you found that interesting. This is a more advanced concept as it relates to bar charts. And if you have a data set where you can have it divided into subsections, so to speak, you can see that you can have a more interesting view. You can go for more of an advanced concept, something that may be a little bit more impressive to your audience. So kind of a step beyond just ordinary bar charts as we had covered in the last training session. Just a reminder, if you're trying to think about how to get the numbers and data ready for the type of chart I just showed, this is really covered in the earlier training sessions that we did that show you how to get summary data for charts. So you may want to review that if for some reason you've missed that training or you're still not quite there. You should be able to use that workflow in Power Automate to take a large set of SharePoint records and total that up or count that up, and then write it to a list so that the data looks like the one data that we use from our workbook here. Hope you like that, and hope you're soon doing your grouped bar charts in SharePoint. We'll see you in the next session.